test it. Yep.
Good morning. Welcome to all of you in the sanctuary. Welcome to those joining us virtually. My name is Anna Howard, and I am part of the team of the Worship Associates who have been working with Interim Minister Reverend Susan Suchocki Brown, our Director of Lifespan Ministries, Kirsten Hunter, and the rest of our wonderful staff to bring worship services to you each week. The gift of music is coming to us from Susan Adams, Johnny Pfeiffer, and South Church Choir today. All are invited to stay after worship for Stephen Blackney and Susan Trelevan's vow renewal. Refreshments will be served on the lawn after the ceremony. Today's beautiful chalice flowers are given by Susan and Stephen in honor of this special occasion. The time for all ages today is offered by Ingrid Ahlberg. Now for some announcements.
Happen, folks. Oh, hey! Good morning, everybody. I'm going to hand this off to Lauren Katz in a minute, but I did want to let you know that you're going to see some unfamiliar faces this morning because Kirsten and Jen Del Deo and Tim Bryant and Paula Boyven are literally on a plane, as I speak, on their way with 14 of our youth from Senior Youth on their way to West Virginia. And they are going to work with Big Creek People in Action. Yes, awesome. On their way to West Virginia for the fourth time to work with Big Creek People in Action. And they're learning about the history of mining and extraction in West Virginia and the impact that it has on the local communities, local economy. They are going to be posting daily updates on the Members and Friends Facebook page. If you are friends there, make sure you check those out. If you are not connected on Facebook, but you still want to get those daily updates, let me know, and I will add you to the email list. They're going to be emailing folks daily, too, just to kind of give everybody an update of what they're doing, what they're working on. So let me know if you want to be involved in that, and I will get you on the list. And I'm going to hand you over to Lauren Katz, who has an exciting update from this weekend's Pocket Garden Tour.
Like how I get sung in. We're the co-chairs. We're the co-chairs. And this is Sue Hubbard, and I'm Lauren Katz, and we are the co-chairs of the Pocket Garden Tour Committee. And, you know, it's somebody posted today, it's not always, the money's the extra, because we just had an incredible experience with so many people at South Church. So I will just say that right now, we haven't done our final counting. We're estimating we sold 1,300 tickets. 1,300 tickets with the blooms and the ad sponsors, which is an incredible part. We're estimating that our net profit is going to be around $30,000. So the real thanks to all of that, clearly we're co-chairs, but the greater thanks goes to an amazing committee who is listed in your order of service. So if the committee would stand, we would really appreciate that. Yes, I see a few of you questioning that. Thank you. You could stay standing. I'm stealing an idea from CJ. So committee stay standing, and then I don't think there's any garden owners of part of South Church this year, but if there were to be garden owners, stand. Anybody who was a garden host, AKA known as sitters. Stay standing. Any other rant? We had a few people who just came in and volunteered. You stand. And I want you to start looking around. There's a real variety in our garden host. We've got my buddy Sasha back there. We had 3 or 4 senior youth who are now on a plane come and help. So this was a very multi-generational pocket garden tour. And finally, anyone who made cookies, if you would stand. And anybody who hosted the after party or wrote a piece for the newspaper, because I'm seeing some people sitting, Mike McGrail stand. So it took a lot of people, and what's more important is that it took our community, and this was a community event. So thank you to everybody, including Jackie Ellis, who's just walking in. Are there any others? We good? Thank you. See you.
'Tis the gift to be simple, 'tis the gift to be free, is the gift to come down where we ought to be. And when we find ourselves in the place just right, 'twill be in the valley of love and delight. When true simplicity is gained, to bow and to bend, we will not be ashamed. To turn will be our delight, till by turning we come out right. 'Tis the gift to be simple, 'tis the gift to be free, 'tis the gift to come down where we ought to be. And when we find ourselves in the place just right, 'twill be in the valley of love and delight.
If you are watching us from home, I invite you to light your own candle as we light the chalice in the sanctuary. As we light the chalice, I wanted to share these words by Jennifer Lasker White. Day by day, we become the people we engage with, the sources we read, the thoughts we dwell upon. Seek the words and company of people who live their passion through positive action and contributions. Drink them in. Let them transform your inner dialogue. Day by day, let them become you. Now please rise as you are able and join me in reciting our mission statement, which is in our order of service and on your screen. At South Church, we nurture spiritual growth through worship, learning, and community. We celebrate the worth and dignity of all people, and we inspire one another to act on our faith in the larger community. Please be seated. Jennifer Lasker White, whose words you just heard, was one of the first people I met in 2005 when I first entered the UU Church in Grafton, Massachusetts, after moving there as a recently divorced single mom. They were holding a chocolate festival, so I decided to check it out. Immediately, our spirits were drawn together. I think of it as a sisterhood at first sight. Although Jen and I were born and raised on different sides of the planet, and she was 10 years older, each time we talked, we discovered we had more things in common. We both graduated from UMass Amherst. We were both city girl, surviving in a provincial town. We were both world travelers. We were both very organized planners. My nice way of saying control freaks. We shared similar views on politics, women's rights, environmental protection, and social justice. In summary, Jen and the chocolate are the reasons I'm a UU. Being Jen's friend and becoming part of the Unitarian Universalist community in Grafton opened a lot of new worlds to me. Together, we danced to African drums at drum circles. We jumped over a fire pit at Beltane. We danced to Celtic band. We climbed ropes. We jumped off trees at the local ropes course. I joined her book club. We took our kids on road trips. We compared notes on being better mothers to our daughters and being better daughters to our mothers. She was my maid of honor. When I married Stephen, she was the first person at the hospital when I gave birth to Sasha. Having been preoccupied in making money in corporate world until that point, I started discovering ways of giving back. She encouraged me to do that. We started volunteering together. Well, she's been volunteering for a long time. Jenna had this gift that you call the gift of showing up. She showed up for causes, for town events, for political rallies. So I started joining her. She pulled me into serving at Grafton Cultural Council. We, missing the culture and arts of the city, we organized Grafton Cultural and Music Festival together for many years. We marched in Boston against Monsanto for GMO labeling. We sat on the bus next to each other all the way to and from the UUA General Assembly in Providence, Rhode Island. In fact, I was on my way to see her at yet another church committee meeting when I received the worst call of my life. Jen passed away suddenly with no symptoms. She was just plucked out of our lives on July 7th, 2014. It will be 8 years soon. The only thing that kept me from falling apart that day, that week, in the days and the weeks and the months and years following, was a question I asked myself every day. What would Jen do? She would help. So I helped. She would show up. So I showed up. And to honor her legacy, I keep showing up and I keep helping. When I'm at the Women's March, at a peace rally for Ukraine, at a March for Our Lives, for gun control, at a rally protesting Supreme Court decision to take away women's rights, Jen is with me. Let me express, sorry to fall apart like this, let me express a wish for all of you to have a Jen in your life for at least some time. A person who gets you, a person with whom you have natural and effortless connection. That person is just like you, only better. They raise you up. Every interaction with them is a gift, a vortex of spring water and fresh breeze. When you say to yourself, wow, if this amazing human being finds me worthy of their time, I must be pretty amazing too. Jen was that person for me, and I'm immensely grateful for the gift of time I had with her. This hymn was Jen's favorite, and when I saw it in the program, I knew I had to talk about her today. I am very happy to sing it with you today together. Spirit of Life. Please rise as you're willing and able.
Can you hear me? No. Should be good. Not quite. We're working. It's coming. Not working. We needed kitchen gloves to open this thing this morning because it was stuck. And we replaced the batteries and it works. Good morning. This hymn doesn't need any direction, I don't think, but I want to invite you to a slight lyric change the second time through. And I don't normally advocate changing any lyrics to our hymns. And it's written as a prayer, and I think we can all use a prayer this morning. And if that still speaks to you, you can sing it with the me lyric the second time through. And I invite you to join the choir in singing Spirit of Life, come unto us, sing in our hearts all the stirrings of compassion. And then later on, roots hold us close, wings set us free, Spirit of Life, come unto us the second time through. It's an invitation.
Good morning. I'm looking around. There are some little people in here. It's time for our story for all ages. So anybody who'd like to come up and join us is welcome to come forward. You know, when I'm sitting in the back, I don't see what a nice crowd there is up here because all of you are below the tops of the pews. And I'm glad to be doing this. Jen asked me if I would read a story today, and I said, oh, I have a favorite story that I'd love to read. But it's been a while since I've had a live in-person audience. The story I'm reading today is called Wabi, Sabi, and it's by Mark Reibstein. And it has some interesting extra parts in it. I'll read his explanation of Wabi Sabi. It's a story from Japan. So the explanation of Wabi Sabi is a way of seeing the world that is at the heart of Japanese culture. It finds beauty and harmony in what is simple, imperfect, natural, modest, and mysterious. It can be a little dark, but it is also warm and comfortable. It may be best understood as a feeling rather than an idea. And you may have noticed that instead of turning the book this way, Japanese writing goes from top to bottom. And it goes on the right side to the left side, but that's beside the point. So I will be lifting the pages up as I read the story. Wabi Sabi was a cat who lived in Kyoto, Japan. One day, visitors from another country asked Wabi Sabi's master what her name meant. It never occurred to her before that Wabi Sabi was anything more than her name. Wabi Sabi watched as her master drew breath through her teeth and said, "That's hard. That's hard to explain." And down at the bottom, another part of this special Japanese book is that part of each page is a haiku, which is a Japanese form of poetry that, as we do it in English, has 5 syllables in the first line, 7 syllables in the second line, and 5 syllables in the last line. So the rest of this page says, "The cat's tail twitching, she watches her master, still waiting in silence." Curious now, Wabi Sabi wondered if her friend Snowball could explain the meaning of her name to her. Snowball, who had been napping, stretched, yawned, and sighed. That's hard to explain. She blinked. "It's a kind of beauty," she added after a minute, her eyes closing again. As though dreaming, she went on. "An old straw hat, rough on cat's paws, pricks and tickles, hurts and feels good too." Then Snowball went back to sleep. Wabi Sabi wasn't sure she understood, but she didn't want to bother Snowball anymore. She asked Rascal, the dog, if he knew what Wabi Sabi meant. Rascal was smart, but kind of mean. "That's too hard to explain to someone like you," he snapped. Then almost to himself he said, "Poor Wabi Sabi, as simple as a brown leaf, so ordinary." "Now I'm even more confused," sighed Wabi Sabi. "Am I beautiful or ordinary? Can anyone explain Wabi Sabi to me?" she cried. A bird flying by thought the question was for her. "That's hard to explain," she said to Wabi Sabi, "but there is someone who can help you. His name is Kosho, and he lives on Mount Hiei in the east. A wise old monkey living among the pine trees knows Wabi Sabi." "Thank you," said Wabi Sabi, and off she went to learn what her name meant. To get to Mount Hiei, she had to cross through the city, dazzled by big buildings, shiny glass, and sleek cars, awed by the busy, sharply dressed people. She wondered if these pretty things could be Wabi Sabi. She decided that if her name was true to her, it must be softer, quieter, darker. Even in the cities, before the shock of the new light, the colors of dark. A short time after Wabi Sabi entered the woods, she arrived at the foot of Mount Hiei. The woods were dark now, so hoping to find Kosho in the morning, she curled up beneath an old pine tree and went to sleep. She woke to the sounds of a stick stirring and tapping. a warm bowl of tea offered by a monkey, please. Steam rising gently. Very glad to have the tea and company, she said. Thank you. My name is Wabi Sabi. That's wonderful, the monkey replied. Encouraged, she asked, do you know what that means? Well, he began. I know, hard to explain, she said, but he went on. The pale moon resting on foggy water. Hear that splash? A frog's jumped in. That's Wabi Sabi, she asked. Is that all? I don't know if I can. It's more, said the monkey. Listen, watch, feel. He said no more, so she watched him make tea. He moved slowly but gracefully, as if he were dancing, and he handled his things as if they were gold, although they were wooden or clay. Wabi Sabi felt what was in her paws. A warm, heavy bowl, comfortable as an old friend, not fine, smooth china. She looked carefully into the woods surrounding them. There was so much life as in the city, but here things were not clean, neat, or sharp-edged. There were no straight lines, yet there were many designs on trees, in clouds, and dirty ponds. She saw that everything was alive and dying, too, like the damp autumn leaves curled beneath her feet. Simple things are beautiful, she heard the monkey say as he poured more tea for her, looking down at the tea in her bowl. Seeing herself plain and beautiful, she whispered, now I understand. After some time, Wabi Sabi thanked her new friend and started back for home. Because she did not hurry, she found a place called Jinkakuji, the Silver Temple. There was nothing silver there, but she found the place to be very beautiful, in a Wabi Sabi kind of way. Although the buildings and gardens were shaped by humans, they were neither fancy nor grand. Moved by the natural simplicity of the place, Wabi Sabi composed 3 short poems about what she saw. Yellow bamboo stalks bow by tea-house doors so low emperors must kneel. Dark buildings floating sit on white sand seas. A stream sweeps small stones, chanting. The monk returns leaves to just raked sand. This humble cat might understand. Tired but glad, Wabi Sabi returned at last to her house. She curled up on the straw mat in the kitchen, enjoying the warmth there. She could smell the wind in her fur and feel her long journey steps deep in her bones. The sun's last rays stretch. A silver brushstroke shivers on warm, clouded glass. Now I think I know what to call this feeling, she said to herself. It's Wabi Sabi, cried her master, seeing her. Where have you been? That's hard to explain, she purred, feeling simply and beautifully at home. Thank you. A very good audience. I think it's time for us to go downstairs, and we'll do our own Wabi Sabi downstairs.
Worship, Social Justice, Fellowship, and Learning Associate programs. Woo. It is wonderful to be able to be in person and do this, something we've not been able to do the last couple of years. And we would like to thank those who have served with roses of gratitude and to welcome those who will be coming on the associate programs with our grateful applause at the end of our ceremony. So, just as we did for the Pocket Garden, when so many people we got to see, our volunteers, we're going to do the same thing right now. Would all of those who are continuing, departing, and new members of the associate groups please come forward? Johnny?
Just use that, okay. There's a lot of people here. This is great. This is great. Good morning. Whoops. Good morning. My name is Laura Monfil, and I'm with the Shared Ministry Council. And along with my Shared Ministry Council members, Marty Waldron, Marty, where are you? Martha Cunningham, co-conveners, Brenda Bladen, and Kirsten Vernon. And so a little bit later, we're going to tell you a little bit more about the purpose of shared ministry. But suffice to say that one of the things that we're famous for is recruiting people and understanding their passion and matching that with the work here at South Church. So please welcome all of those that have stepped up, are continuing, have completed a term, or for the first time are joining us with this work. Please welcome our associate program. Thank you.
Well, on behalf of all of us, I would like to thank you each for your attention to supporting, nurturing, and being liaisons to associate groups, and for serving those of you on the Shared Ministry Council during some challenging times. Tana, where are you? Taking pictures.
I wanted to just quickly thank all of you for being up here on behalf of the Board of Trustees. And I think that we will be giving each of you a rose, but I mostly wanted to thank the Shared Ministry Council for all the work that they've done to put this together. Laura Montville, Marty Waldron, Martha Cunningham, Kirsten Vernon, and Brenda Bladen, who's going to be leaving the Shared Ministry Council. Thank you so much in putting all of this together and for all the work you do. I think when half the congregation stands up to go up front to be recognized, we know that we have a very strong group of volunteers, so thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
So first, we will recognize our worship associates. And the mission of the worship associates is to support, enrich, and deepen the spiritual life of the church through planning, arranging, and the collaborative creation of inspiring and meaningful worship experiences. Please step forward as you hear your name is called. We thank Lori Bilby, Brett Newberry, Hillary Clark, Myra Aronson, who couldn't be with us this morning, but for their continuing commitment and generosity. And we honor Jonathan Cummings, who has completed his term as a worship associate and convener of the group, but could not be here today. Thank you for your thoughtful stewardship.
of the Sunday morning worship, and your many contributions, including your grateful presence in the pulpit, has enriched the experience of worship. We are most grateful for these gifts that you have shared with us. Thank you. You have and will continue to serve us well. We would now like to introduce our new worship associates. Anna Howard. Lissa Masio, who could not be with us this morning. Ray Strand is right here. And Willow Young. Where's Willow? Willow maybe could not make it this morning. Okay. On behalf of the congregation, I thank you for your willingness to become part of the team that will create and deepen our worship experiences here at South Church. We welcome you and thank you for your willingness to be part of the service to South Church.
The mission of the Learning Associates is to create and support lifespan approaches to faith development and religious education for the South Church congregation. Please step forward as your name is called. Brian Murphy, who has been our convener. Arthur Eves and Laura Eves, who cannot be here today, for their continuing commitment and giving spirit. And we thank Lauren Katz, who has completed a very full term as a learning associate and one of the original founders of the program. And we also thank Alexandra Lockwood for her contributions and wish her well in her upcoming move to be near her parents. We have collectively benefited from all of your guidance and ideas as we have embarked on this newest associate program and experimented with various learning offerings during a global pandemic. We would now like to introduce and call forward our new learning associates, Valerie Fagan and Alan Ammon. We thank you for your willingness to serve on this team to help the congregation across all ages develop a deeper understanding of what the word learning means in our mission statement at South Church in the context of what Unitarian Universalism means to each of us. Welcome.
Thank you, Kirsten. The mission of the Pastoral Associates is to deepen the sense of community and caring by engaging us all in providing connection and offering support for one another during times of need and times of celebration, and to develop the wider network of care. Please step forward as your name is called. We thank you for continuing commitment and generosity. Kim Rivest, Martha Ammon, Donna Waldron, and Martha Leith and Jenna Coynes, who will become co-conveners. We especially honor Michael Alapena and Barbara Grazier, who have completed terms as pastoral associates, for your faithful service to South Church and to the many people in our community who have been touched by your generous, care, and compassion. We are deeply grateful for your presence. Thank you. You have served us well. Welcome to our newest pastoral associate, Donna Malello. On behalf of the congregation, I thank all of you for your willingness to help us express our care for one another in times of sorrow and celebration, illness and renewal. You will help us deepen the sense of connection and community. We wish you well in your continued pastoral care to South Church friends and members, and I invite you to call on us to help you. Welcome and thank you for your service to South Church.
The mission of the Fellowship Associates is to engage all of us in the spiritual practice of hospitality. They help us welcome guests, encourage new and current members to participate in the life of the church, facilitate the Path to Membership program, help us to celebrate milestones throughout the congregation, and so much more. We thank Jenny Cease and Jan Marston, co-conveners going forward, Kevin Leahy, and I'm reading too fast, hang on. So Jenny Cease, Kevin Leahy, Jan's got hers, all right. Jane Kavanaugh. There we go. For their continued commitment and generosity. And we especially honor Emily Lusenhop-Bolton, our outgoing convener, Alan Amon. I think Kathy's not here. I told Alan he could only have one rose, so. Kathy DiPentima, who's not with us this morning, and Rebecca Blake. For completing their terms, for engaging us in the good work of hospitality, we are deeply grateful. Thank you all. You have served us well. Now let me introduce our newest Fellowship Associates. Connie Freermuth, Catherine Greeley, right here. Tracy Lipsett, who's not able to be with us today, and Dot Mason, right there. On behalf of the congregation, I thank you for becoming a part of the team that helps us welcome and support all who come to South Church, seeking friendship, connection, and spiritual deepening. Thank you for your service to South Church.
The mission of Social Justice Associates is to identify social injustice, environmental degradations, and barriers to peace that call us to act through education, service, witness, and advocacy. Social Justice Associates share a commitment to justice, peace, and social responsibility. It's my pleasure to thank Social Justice Associates for the work that they have done on such important issues as voter registration, climate justice, immigration, livable wage, affordable housing, LGBTQ rights, and gun violence prevention, just to name a few. Thank you to continuing members Janet Pulaski and Jackie Ellis. And thank you to members that are transitioning off, who served so well this year, Robin Schnell, Linda Benham, and Mary Bannock. They've completed their terms, and we thank them for their service. There are no new members to welcome at this time, so this is an opportunity for those interested in social justice issues to step up. You can contact Jen Leiden or shared ministry email that are listed in your order of service. And this, if you're interested, will help South Church fulfill its social justice mission. As you saw today, when we thank the Pocket Garden volunteers and the 46 associate members that we thank right now, the volunteers are the lifeblood of South Church. And we give thanks to all associate group members for volunteering during these very challenging times. And thank you for giving generously of your time, your talent, and your best efforts to achieve the mission of the associate group and the greater mission of South Church. We appreciate the work that you have done to create a caring community, to help us grow spiritually, and to seek social justice in the larger community.
And I'd just like to take a moment to reiterate how wonderful shared ministry is and what a privilege it's been to serve with these folks. As shared ministry, we share in the ministry of South Church by supporting the associates programs, the Learning Associates, Fellowship Associates, Social Justice, Pastoral, and Worship Associates. We are committed to maintaining the integrity, individuality, and spiritual growth of each program and its members through recruitment and matching people's passion to embrace the work. So if there's something that you feel that you would like to be part of, please reach out to us and the members of Worship Associates and let us know. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah.
Thank you. As previously stated, in fact, a number of times, each associate program plays a pivotal and crucial role in the life of South Church. Often the work is very visible. Often the work is quiet and behind the scenes. All of this work is supported by Reverend Susan and Kirsten Hunter, who act as liaisons to each of the associate programs. The challenges of the past 2+ years of COVID have ricocheted throughout our South Church community, impacting every aspect of the way we do our work together. Every aspect but one. The knowledge, experience, and spiritual wisdom of Reverend Susan and Kirsten have been an enduring and consistent presence. They have informed, guided, and supported us in every way. We cherish them, and we applaud them. And now everyone can return to their seats. Thank you.
Lovely. I'll take it. I'll take it.
During the month of June, and in celebration of Pride, our collection at the Offertory will be shared with Seacoast Outright. Through educational programs, annual Pride celebrations, and youth support groups, the mission is to create a safe space for youth to explore the topics of gender, sexuality, in a welcoming and understanding environment. Learn more at the www.seacoastoutright.org. You can donate in many ways. You can use the new mobile app, Venco. You can give via donate link on our website, or by sending a check in the mail to our office at 73 Court Street, or use the collection plate. The offering will now be gratefully received.
I was out at Star Island this week, thankfully over on Appledore Island for a nice, relaxing look at the gardens. And when I got back, on my telephone was the news from the Supreme Court. And it hit me really hard, as I'm sure it hit all of you, about the worst choice anyone would ever have to make is to have an abortion. And to have that taken away is so incredibly painful. And I want to, as we get ready for our prayer this morning, to just think about how we need to be together. We need to support one another. We need to increase our volunteerism so that we can support women and any person from having their rights affected. Change only happens by being together, by being strong, by having all the volunteers who do the things that they do. So with great gratitude, I want to thank those of you who put together a rally on short notice. And also I want to acknowledge the wonderful celebration of the Pride Parade and the stoles that were made and the many people who attended. And I want to also talk about the Pocket Garden and our volunteers. So as I offer these thoughts to you this morning as this disjointed prayer, it is in a grateful appreciation for each and every one of you who does so much. We will come forward now and light candles of joy or concern in silence. And please know that you may write on a pastoral card if you have any special needs that you want us to hold or to be in touch with you. And I invite you now to come forward and light candles of joy. going to do something today I don't normally do, which is to get you out of here without having a sermon. I just want to point out 4 things that happened to me at Star Island and the synchronicity of South Church and of life. First is that a person who was on their way to Star Island stopped here for church, and they heard Willow and someone else talking about the planets being in alignment. And then Betty O was out there with me, and she managed to find time, don't know how she did it, the Energizer bunny that she is, to listen to the sermon. So we had a 4 a.m. solstice service planned anyways. And I was up, I'm fairly early riser, not quite 4, but I went outside early enough to see the planets. And I was looking out and I could see 1, 2, 3, and I couldn't, and it was like, I know there's supposed to be 5. And I realized that I had to turn around and look. And I was aware of how sometimes we are limited to what we just see in front of us. And that turning around was a beautiful, brilliant way to experience all of those planets. And what a great way. And then the synchronicity of watching the volunteers. The people out at Star Island, I was for the Natural History Conference, and watching all the volunteers come together so that it would be an engaging, interesting, enjoyable, fun, relaxing experience. Being able to be on the island and get on the boat and go over to Celia Thaxter's garden, but knowing that that didn't happen without a lot of volunteers working to make things happen. And then thinking about being here today and honoring our volunteers just reminds me that it is all of us together who can make things happen. All that haphazardness of life comes together when people have a purpose, and South Church has a purpose and has a mission. When I was in Leominster, one last thought, when I was in Leominster, I was there for 24 years, and I so wanted to try to have associate programs and just couldn't have them happen. And when I came here, it was like a dream come true. Worship associates, pastoral associates, shared ministry to make it all happen, social justice people who put the time and energy into reading things, learning associates who always are expanding and broadening, worship associates who help today happen, fellowship who have a time of gathering for us out there. It is such a wonderful thing when all those pieces come together. You are a blessing. You are a blessing, and I am blessed to be here with you. I did write, and I'm not going to go into it, a little bit of the history of the associate group program. So if anybody's interested in it, come and see me. I'm happy to share. But most importantly, we have incredible gifts here at this church, and it is a blessing. And I celebrate that. And let us go and enjoy that blessing before some of us come back in here for the 40th year renewal vows of our couple, Stephen and Susan. So let us join together in singing "For All That Is Our Life."
All that is our life, we sing For sorrow we must bear, for failures, pain, and loss, for each new thing we learn, for fearful hours that pass, we come with praise and thanks. For all that is our life, for all that is our life, we sing our thanks and praise. For all life is a gift, which we are called to use, to build the common good, and make our own days glad.
We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again.
The closing words that I share from Tao Te Ching. Dwell close to the earth, meditate deep into the heart, deal kindly and gently with others, speak the truth, work competently, time your actions carefully. Where there is no fight, there is no blame. Go in peace, go and visit. Blessings on us all. So be it.